What's up guys, welcome back to Software Knowledge Solutions, and today we talk about Black Ops 7, and yes, ladies and gentlemen, it's out, it's playable, and yes, the best settings that you can use right now, I'm going to give it to you. This is for all users out there, low end, medium end to high end users. I'm going to make this video short, sweet, and simple, and get straight to the point. Alright, as you come into this game, you'll have a notification over here to copy your previous settings. I've done that, just to test the game out. I don't really like it as much, because this game does look way different to BO6. In its physics, its mechanics, and everything else, you know, how the game looks and stuff like that. So I normally play my game on Fidelity FX Cache. I still do right now at this very moment. It's very sharp. So a lot of things are, you can actually see the jagged edges and stuff like that. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I highly recommend coming into the settings gear icon over here, and then what we're going to do is we're going to come to graphics, and I'm going to show you the best graphics settings you can use right now at this very moment, and this will apply for multiplayer, zombies, and every game mode that you're playing right now at this very moment. It doesn't matter if you're playing a certain game mode or whatever the case might be. Alright, let's jump straight into this. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, as you can see, I'm in the display tab right now. I'm in the settings menu, and display mode, I highly recommend just running your game in full screen exclusive. This is the best way of running your game in general, or you can go with this over here, which is full screen borderless. This is for multiple screens. If you own multiple screens, you go with full screen borderless, and if you own one dedicated screen, go with full screen exclusive. You can also go with full screen exclusive even if you own multiple screens. Go ahead and do this. Just do not change these. Don't go to windowed mode. Don't go to full screen extended mode. It doesn't help you. It won't benefit you at all. The only two benefits will be these two right here. All right, I highly recommend you go ahead and do that. All right, let's jump straight into the next step. All right, so aspect ratio, I highly recommend just in general keeping this on automatic. If you have like something like an ultra wide monitor and stuff like that, you can go ahead and like choose them. Like, and if you competitive gamer, go with 16:9. You know, everyone has their own like opinion over here, but what I would highly recommend is go with automatic. BO7, Black Ops 7, right now at this very moment intends to actually give you settings that you should be using. But some of the settings don't make sense at all. Some of the settings makes the game look really bad, and I don't recommend it. So go with automatic over here, and you should be good to go. Then obviously over here, the restart shader preloading, you're going to come back to this after doing this. After changing everything I'm about to change and show you what to change. You're going to have your display gamma at 2.2. If you have something where you want more digital vibrance in your game, you can go with 2.4. I'm going to go ahead and do that actually. Your gamma and your brightness, ladies and gentlemen, it's all up to you. It's your own personal preference. I actually leave mine at 65. That's my own personal preference. But go ahead and find your sweet spot for this game. Alright. Now, video reflex low latency, I highly recommend going ahead and changing this depending on the computer you have. Okay. Alright, so NVIDIA Reflex Low Latency plays a very big role on this game. It depends on if you are CPU bound or if you're GPU bound on your specific computer. Now, if you want to find out what computer you have and you don't know how to do that or whatever the case might be, and you're brand new to settings guides or whatever the case might be, just press the Windows key, come to Windows, your desktop, and then right click here on your taskbar and go to Task Manager, and then go to Performance over here. You'll see your CPU, click on CPU, you go to your memory, it will show your memory, scroll all the way down, and it will show your graphics card. Alright, that's just how it's very easy and simple to find out what machine you are running. Now you will know if you are CPU bound or if you're GPU bound. In general, what it would mean is if your CPU is way better than your GPU, then you are GPU bound. If your GPU is way better than your CPU, then you are CPU bound. Now, most case scenarios, it will be that you have a way better GPU than what you have a CPU. Now, what I would highly recommend is on-bus boost. Go ahead and put it on on-bus boost. But another thing is this. If you came into this game and it already selected something for you, leave it there. Okay? But if you do want to see a significant increase in the performance, if you GPU bound or CPU bound and you want to select a specific one, I would go with on-bus boost, because most people out there would have better graphics cards. So it's really going to depend on the machine that you are running, what you're going to choose inside here. I just leave mine on. Mine actually gave me this option, and I left it there. All right. Power saving. So we obviously have eco mode preset. You have this like custom over here. Have a custom. Right, so VSync gameplay, I highly recommend changing this if your game is physically tearing itself apart. If it's not doing so, you can actually see it over here. This is where it's tearing itself apart, and this is where it's not. This is smooth gameplay, and that's where it's tearing itself apart. Now, if your game is tearing itself apart, go ahead and put it on 100%. Just bear in mind that it's going to cap your FPS, your frame rate in general, to the hertz of your monitor, the refresh rate of your monitor. So let's say it's 60, 120, all the way to 500. It will go up till there, depending on the screen that you're running. the monitor that you're running. All right. This one over here, you don't really need to care because who in their right mind V-syncs their menus. You really don't need to do this. Just leave this off. Alright, so custom frame rate limit, I play my game at unlimited, always and always have, but you can go ahead and go to custom, and I do recommend people to do this as well if you want to have a smooth gameplay experience. Okay, let's just say you are doing an example, because this is at 120 now, alright? So you want to drop your FPS 30 FPS or lower than what you're achieving in-game. So that will randomly be obviously 150 because that equals 150. 30 FPS from here would equal 150. So let's say you're doing 150 FPS on every single map and every single game mode. I highly recommend coming inside here and type in. Just go ahead and type it in 120 and leave it like that. Then your menu custom frame rate limit 120 as well, and then out of focus just leave it at 30, leave it like that, and you should be fine. All right. Then you're gonna have this over here, reduce menu resolution, have this at native. You're going to come to pause game rendering, have this off, then reduce quality when inactive, 10 minutes, and then focus mode, you can have it 0. Then you're going to apply these settings. Once you apply these settings, you're going to come to the quality tab. Right, as you can see, we're in the quality tab, and I highly recommend that you go ahead and have this at custom. And I tested this game at 1080p, 1440p, and then 4K with the benchmarking tool before I even just went into the game and started playing. Right, now, if you have a 1080p screen, I highly recommend running your game like this perfectly fine. It will run really well, okay? Especially if you're on a lower generation computer or you have a very, very high-end PC. I would still recommend 1080p or 1440p. I would recommend it overall. Why? Because it's competitive resolution. It's a competitive resolution. 4K is not really much of a competitive resolution. That's just to make your game look really pretty. Okay, I've tested this with the benchmarking tool. I've tested this with multiple monitors and upscalings and everything, and just in general tweaking my settings. Okay, have this at 100 and leave it there so it does the resolution of your screen. Okay, so if it is 1440p, run it at 1440p. If it's 1080p, run it at 1080p. Run it like that and you should be good to go. Dynamic resolution, have this off. Then upscaling and sharpening, I highly recommend running your game at Fidelity FX Cache. NVIDIA DLSS if you are on an NVIDIA card, right? Just run it on an NVIDIA cards with NVIDIA DLSS. The newer generation NVIDIA cards, RTX cards, go ahead and use this option. You can go ahead and use the NVIDIA image scaling as well. That's if you're on a 10 series. This also actually does work on a 10 series as well. These two over here. Then again, AMD FSR 3 works very well for lower NVIDIA gaming graphics cards. Then as well for lower end AMD graphics cards. Go ahead and use this upscaling and you should be good to go. But then come inside here and have this at native. So you do the native resolution of your screen. You'll see that it will get literally like completely just like blanked out, like dulled out and stuff. It's because it's running at native right now and it will do the resolution of your screen. Okay, so if I change this to anything else like Fidelity FX Cache, as you can see, I can push it. I don't want to push it. I'm just going to leave it as is. But I play with Fidelity FX Cache. So I play my game at about 85 strength. I'm actually going to drop this because my game looks a little bit too sharp. So I'm going to hit it with about 75 now for PO7 and leave it like this. Right, NVIDIA DLSS frame generation. Ladies and gentlemen, like I said before, and I said it multiple times in multiple videos of mine, if you want to see more FPS, if your game feels better by you turning this on with an NVIDIA card, okay? And your game feels better, you're not getting stutters, you're not throwing your panties out of the cot and stuff like that, then yeah, have this on, okay? But if you're playing the game and you stripping your fucking shit and stuff like that because your game feels trash, it might be because this is on, all right? Okay, it varies because a lot of people in my comment section down below is going to be like, yo dude, I have this on and I play perfectly fine. Yo dude, I have this off and I play this perfectly fine. Yo dude, I have an AMD card and I put this on and I run this perfectly fine. Yo dude, when I put this off, then it runs perfectly fine. Everyone has their own fucking opinion when it comes to these things. These are actually meant for single player games like the campaign for BO7 or just in general single player games. Okay, anyways. So this one over here, this ray tracing reflections, turn it the fuck off because what it's going to do is it's literally just going to eat your FPS for no reason and you don't want that. Okay, now your VRAM scale target, all right? This is your VRAM, physically your RAM that's on your graphics card. That's called VRAM, okay? If you run this at 80, you can start changing things inside here and take more advantage of it. But what I highly recommend you go ahead and do is this. If you have anything like my graphics card, a 4070 Super and higher, go with 80. If you have anything lower than that, anything lower than that. You can go to 75 over here, or you go to 60 over here. Why? Because what it will help you with is packet burst, packet loss, the game's stuttering in general, and just in general, the game will just feel so much better having this at 60 if you have a lower generation graphics card. But if you have a really decent graphics card out there, go with 80 and leave it like that. This one over here, off, always off. For the love of fuck, leave it off and done. Alright, so now I'm going to go over this over here, which is the details and textures. It plays a very big role on this game, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, before I go over this, smash that motherfucking like button, leave a comment down below if this actually worked for you, and share this with the community out there that needs this. If they're struggling, if you know they're struggling, like a friend in Discord or anything like that, just send them my way and let them watch this video. I'm pretty sure that they'll come right, and if they do, tell them to smash that like button as well. Leave a comment down below, subscribe to the channel if you're new here, because every time Call of Duty Black Ops 7 is going to bring out a new update, I'll be doing a video and covering it. Alright, so detail and textures, I highly recommend here, you can just go to normal. You do not, I repeat, you do not need to push this too high, okay? You can go to normal over here and your game still looks perfectly fine between normal and then high. There's not a lot of visual difference. It's not a lot. The lot of visual difference becomes from going from high to like low, okay? But if you have a low-end gaming GPU or in general computer, go to low. Go to low. Just don't go to very low. You're going to tear out your own eyeballs. I don't want you to do that. So just have it at low and you should be fine with a lower generation machine, all right? Go to normal over here. You should be perfectly fine. Texture filter anisotropic has no impact on FPS, so it literally has like an impact of like 1 to 2 FPS on any machine, low end, medium end to high end. Go to ultra here, or you can go to high if you want to, but yet again, like I said, has no impact, so go to ultra. Depth of field, who in their right mind plays with this shit, turn it the fuck off. Detail quality, I would highly recommend you just go to normal yet again. If you want a competitive setting and you want your game to run perfectly fine and you want that FPS, go to normal over here. Particle resolution, this over here, I would highly recommend you just go to very low and leave it there. Alright. Bullet impacts, you're going to have this on. You're going to have your effects off. You're going to have your shader quality at least at medium. You do not need to have it all the way to high. Have it at medium. On-demand texture streaming, have this at minimal. Scroll down, come to this where it says local texture streaming quality. And now it says default and it says low. I would highly recommend selecting low over here and not default. In-game video quality, this is the physical in-game video quality. Now it says here, set the quality level of the video content playing on screens, monitors, and digital surfaces. Alright, so now that is going to impact FPS. It's going to impact your frames if you don't have a beast of a computer or you don't have the best of computers in general. But this game is optimized, it runs really well at this moment. I don't know what they're going to do when they release new updates. The games, in general, Call of Duty intends to smoke crack and fuck up their games. That's what they do best, right? So what I would recommend you to change here is put this to low so you can do more FPS in this game and get that extra FPS. Because if you're running around and stuff is playing on screens and stuff like that, you don't need to see the quality of it because that's not what you're looking for. You're looking for enemies. You're not looking for screens, right? Then you're going to come to your shadow and lighting. Have this at normal right now with the shadow quality. Have this at normal. Screen space deflections at low. This over here, screen space lighting, off, always off, leave it the fuck off and done. This one over here, screen space reflections, off, always off and done. As you can see here, that's just basically what it does. You do not need to see how wet the floor is. Trust me, you don't. For why? It's just why? It's just going to eat your FPS to be able to see this. Instead of that, no, go hang yourself. Anyway, so this one over here, static reflection quality, low. Now, we're coming to the environment. I highly recommend you go ahead and do this. It says terrain quality. This is how well the terrain looks in the game, okay? It's how well the terrain looks. So I highly recommend you go ahead and go to high over here and just leave it there. You do not need to go to all the way to very high. Leave it at high, you should be good to go. Your volumetric quality at low, but some people do change this, but I wouldn't just have it at low. Your physics quality off, your weather growth volumes off, and your water quality you're going to have at off as well, and you're going to apply these settings. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, so now that we're in the view tab, this is your own personal preference, just these two, please, for the love of fuck. World motion blur, turn it off, and then weapon motion blur, turn it the fuck off, and leave it off, and done. Then you can go ahead and benchmark your game if you want to. The benchmarking tool is not 100% accurate, so this is why I don't really use this thing. I rather test the stuff in-game than what I do in the benchmarking tool itself. Now, ladies and gentlemen, for all of these settings to apply to your game that you just changed for your game to run smoother, number one, smash the motherfucking like button, leave a comment down below, subscribe to my channel if you're new here. This is what you're going to need to do for all of these settings to apply to your game. Is this right here. Right, so you're going to come to the display tab, you're going to click on restart shader preloading, you're going to click on restart, you're going to press escape, you can press escape, and you're going to press escape, and you're going to be like this, alright? On this screen. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, before I show you what you're going to need to do for these settings to apply to your game and for you to relaunch the game through whatever you are playing it through, let's say Battle.net or let's say Xbox Game Pass or Steam, it doesn't matter where you're playing this from, subscribe to my YouTube channel if you're new here, ladies and gentlemen. We're almost at 90,000 subscribers. We're almost at that 100 peak. Go ahead and do that to support me. It would really mean a lot to me. I do a lot of work to show you guys the best settings, and all you're going to need to do is subscribe, leave a like, leave a comment, and it supports my channel. It means a lot to me. Alright, let's jump straight into it. Alright, so you're going to completely quit out of this game. Press escape, go to yes, and quit to your desktop. Alright, so once you're on your desktop like this, go ahead and relaunch your game. Either through, like I said, if it's through Steam or Battle.net or the Xbox Game Pass, it doesn't matter where you're playing your game through. Let the shaders start installing at the top left corner over here. You'll see it will start installing the preloading shaders and stuff like that. Let it finish to 100%. Once it's done, a little square block on the right hand side is going to show you that it's been finished and it's been installed, and then play your game. Ladies and gentlemen, also please make sure that you're on the latest graphics card drivers for AMD and NVIDIA. Please go ahead and install the latest graphics card drivers and do a Windows update. Please go ahead and do those things. That's very important for this game. Ladies and gentlemen, if this video worked for you, smash the like button, leave a comment down below, subscribe to the channel if you're new here. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, as always, hope this helped you, and peace out.